new variant has emerged in France. It has almost as many mutations as Omicron. According to experts, there's not enough available info to determine if it's more contagious or dangerous than other strains. Han Sung-woo reports.
Researchers at the Méditerranée Infection University Hospital Institute, or IHU, recently discovered a new strain of COVID-19 in the south of France. And this variant has now grabbed the world's attention. The variant, first reported on December 10th, has been tentatively dubbed variant IHU. It reportedly carries 46 new mutations, as well as 37 deletions, and has so far been found in at least 12 patients in the region. The index case was detected in a man who had been to Cameroon in November, leading scientists to believe the new strain is of Cameroonian origin. It also shares certain mutations present in other variants, which could make it spread more easily or be tougher to cure.
That there are a lot of mutations means it may potentially be more transmissible, resistant to vaccines and treatment, or likely to lead to critical cases. So the world needs to monitor the variant IHU closely, but that's not to say this will immediately become a threat or that people should be panicking.
As of now, there's no concrete evidence that it has spread outside of southern France. Neither are there any signs it's outcompeting the Omicron variant, which has become the dominant strain in France and several other countries worldwide. Some experts believe the new strain will struggle to outcompete Omicron, an idea pushed by Imperial College London virologist Dr. Tom Peacock, who said it, quote, actually predates Omicron. Despite several new strains cropping up over the past year, only a few were eventually found to be more contagious or lethal. Details on the new variant were posted online by IHU last month, but have not yet been published in an academic medical journal, and the World Health Organization has yet to declare it a variant of interest or concern, or give it a Greek letter name. Han Sung-woo, Arirang News.
24's correspondent Nadine Theron explains.
Scientists say the B11529 variant carries an extremely large amount of mutations and it's spreading at a worrisome rate. This is concerning because a new variant could be more transmissible and more resistant to vaccines and the natural immune system. 22 cases of the new variant have been detected in South Africa's most densely populated province of Gauteng, and it's been detected in other provinces too, while new cases are still being confirmed. Hospitalizations in the country have increased, but it's uncertain whether the new variant causes milder or more severe disease. 3 cases have been detected in the neighboring country of Botswana and 1 in Hong Kong in someone who has traveled to South Africa. Most cases of the new variants are young people under 25, the least vaccinated age category. Only 35% of South Africa's total population have been fully vaccinated, and vaccination rates are dropping, although there's no shortage of vaccines. South African health authorities have said that they're still uncertain what the full significance of the new variant is. But in the meantime, the government here is considering a tightening of COVID-19 lockdown restrictions ahead of the festive season. The National Coronavirus Command Council and the Cabinet are meeting over the weekend to discuss this possibility.
Southern France have detected a new strain of the COVID-19. IHU have been found around 46 people, and it's mutate very fast. Of course, scientists know nothing about this new vigorously of the COVID-19. It was just newly discovered. They named it the IHU. I am someone that said the COVID-19 will be here in 2023. I see now, after reading billionaire Bill Gates' words of saying the Omicron COVID-19 will be the very last strain of the COVID-19 pandemic. It's going to be over. I disagree 100%. Bill Gates said the COVID-19 will be over once this Omicron is stopped. But I see the COVID-19 here in the year of 2025. I don't see the COVID-19 going anywhere for a while. It might not be under the name of the coronavirus, but it will be a flu-type disease with the COVID-19 strain. You can see I'm just a nutty podcast host, but I have not given you information yet that was false. I see a wave coming, and part of that wave that I see coming is the COVID-19 that is here, and it's going to be here for a very long time. For years, people have been talking about depopulation. Depopulation. The planet Earth. But this is scientific. This is science way of doing just that. Depopulating Earth. Depopulating Earth with a virus. The coronavirus.
For almost a decade, scientists chased the source of a deadly new virus through China's tallest mountains and most isolated caverns. They finally found it here, in the bats of Shitao Cave. The virus in question was a coronavirus that caused an epidemic of severe acute respiratory syndrome, or SARS, in 2003. Coronaviruses are a group of viruses covered in little protein spikes that look like a crown, or corona in Latin. There are hundreds of known coronaviruses. 7 of them infect humans and can cause disease. The coronavirus SARS-CoV causes SARS, MERS-CoV causes MERS, and SARS-CoV-2 causes the disease COVID-19. Of the 7 human coronaviruses, 4 cause colds, mild, highly contagious infections of the nose and throat. 2 infect the lungs and cause much more severe illnesses. The 7th, which causes COVID-19, has features of each. It spreads easily, but can severely impact the lungs. When an infected person coughs, droplets containing the virus spray out. The virus can infect a new person when the droplets enter their nose or mouth. Coronaviruses transmit best in enclosed spaces, where people are close together. Cold weather keeps their delicate casing from drying out, enabling the virus to survive for longer between hosts, while UV exposure from sunlight may damage it. These seasonal variations matter more for established viruses, but because no one is yet immune to a new virus, it has so many potential hosts that it doesn't need ideal conditions to spread. In the body, the protein spikes embed in the host cells and fuse with them, enabling the virus to hijack the host cell's machinery to replicate its own genes. Coronaviruses store their genes on RNA. All viruses are either RNA viruses or DNA viruses. RNA viruses tend to be smaller, with fewer genes, meaning they infect many hosts and replicate quickly in those hosts. In general, RNA viruses don't have a proofreading mechanism, whereas DNA viruses do. So, when an RNA virus replicates, it's much more likely to have mistakes, called mutations. Many of these mutations are useless or even harmful, but some make the virus better suited for certain environments, like a new host species. Epidemics often occur when a virus jumps from animals to humans. This is true of the RNA viruses that cause the Ebola, Zika, and SARS epidemics, and the COVID-19 pandemic. Once in humans, the virus still mutates, usually not enough to create a new virus, but enough to create variations or strains of the original one. Coronaviruses have a few key differences from most RNA viruses. They're some of the largest, meaning they have the most genes. That creates more opportunity for harmful mutations. To counteract this risk, coronaviruses have a unique feature, an enzyme that checks for replication errors and corrects mistakes. This makes coronaviruses much more stable, with a slower mutation rate than other RNA viruses. While this may sound formidable, the slow mutation rate is actually a promising sign when it comes to disarming them. After an infection, our immune systems can recognize germs and destroy them more quickly if they infect us again, so they don't make us sick. But mutations can make a virus less recognizable to our immune systems and therefore more difficult to fight off. They can also make antiviral drugs and vaccines less effective because they're tailored very specifically to a virus. That's why we need a new flu vaccine every year. The influenza virus mutates so quickly that new strains pop up constantly. The slower mutation rate of coronaviruses means our immune systems, drugs, and vaccines might be able to recognize them for longer after infection, and therefore protect us better. Still, we don't know how long our bodies remain immune to different coronaviruses. There's never been an approved treatment or vaccine for a coronavirus. We haven't focused on treating the ones that cause colds. And though scientists began developing treatments for SARS and MERS, the epidemics ended before those treatments completed clinical trials. As we continue to encroach on other animals' habitats, some scientists say a new coronavirus jumping to humans is inevitable. But if we investigate these unknowns, it doesn't have to be devastating.
My name is Sammy. Please help support my channel and my audio podcast. I'm a very strong supporter of the Lyme Disease and the Heart and Cancer Foundation. If you feel yourself shortness of breath, irregular heartbeats, dizziness, please go to your local ER or please talk to your primary care physician. High blood pressure can lead to heart attacks. Please educate yourself on the COVID-19. Like I said earlier, the COVID-19 is here. It's going to be here for a while. Our COVID-19 shots and our booster shots are necessary. If you have not received any of your shots, you should reconsider it. These shots are free at this time, but in the near future, they might not be free. So please get vaccinated and learn as much as you can about the COVID-19. You're in the zone. You're in the Videoplex zone. Thank you, and stay safe.
Jump from animal species into the human population. The 2019 novel coronavirus is getting a lot of attention now because it is a new kind of coronavirus we haven't seen among humans before. The theory is that it may have jumped from an animal species into the human population and then begun spreading. We have seen some people that have died of this disease, and we know that there are already thousands of cases. So people are concerned because we don't yet know exactly how severe the disease will be or how far it will spread. When a new virus emerges, we often have to learn much more about it. And one of the things that we question is, how does it transmit from person to person? We know that most respiratory viruses are spread by large droplets that come out when people cough and sneeze and stay aloft usually for about 6 feet in front of them. They land on surfaces and then can also be transmitted between person to person by touching those surfaces, such as doorknobs or other surfaces. Other viruses can spread in the air and stay aloft for a longer period of time in small droplet nuclei. For this current 2019 coronavirus, we're not yet sure whether it is droplet or airborne transmission. So we're erring on the side of caution and taking protection as if it was spread by the airborne route. We're still learning a lot about this 2019 novel coronavirus to understand how dangerous it might be. Right now, the majority of the cases are in China. We know that some travelers have brought the virus to other countries.
This is how the COVID-19 started.
I think one of the main things to keep in mind is that this is respiratory virus season, and we have other respiratory viruses like influenza that we need to take precautions because we know we have thousands of cases and thousands of deaths in this country every year from influenza.
Our doctors say they don't know what they're talking about, but they really do.
Given the ongoing transmission of the virus in China, we have a travel alert that was issued by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. So at this time, until we know more, avoid non-essential travel to China.
And this is when the pandemic started in 2020.
Johns Hopkins Health System and health systems across the nation are busy right now preparing to safely identify, isolate, evaluate, and care for patients with the 2019 novel coronavirus. We have the capability of doing this safely by utilizing personal protective equipment, by implementing travel screening so that we can quickly identify patients who have risk factors for the disease, and then implementing isolation precautions, the use of personal protective equipment, and other measures to make sure that we limit the spread of the virus. At the Johns Hopkins Hospital and throughout our health system, we routinely care for patients infected with diseases that are spread by the airborne route. So we have expertise to do this safely. When a new virus comes along that has unknown risks, we have extra measures that we can put in place, including our biocontainment unit that can advise us and put plans in place to safely care for these patients.
Thank you. God bless you, and help support my YouTube channel.